I'm back on Savile Row, one of my favorite places in London. This time not to visit with a tailor, but to visit with a shoemaker. I'm at Gaziano Girling for the second fitting on my bespoke pair of shoes that Tony is making for me. One of the things I love most about the bespoke process is that process itself. It's not an in and out experience. You get to savor the journey with multiple fittings, with good friends, and at the end of that, enjoy a fantastic product. So here we are at Gaziano Girling. Let's go inside and see what Tony has in store for us.
Hey, Kirby.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too. You well?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Good.
Happy to be back here in London.
Good. You want me to take your
this?
hat and coat?
Please.
Yeah, of course.
So I can't wait to see these shoes. It's our second fitting.
Yep. Hopefully the final one.
The final,
we'll see.
Yes. Well, I enjoy the process, so I'll savor it as much as I can.
But yeah, no, it's looking good. Hopefully, I mean, last time wasn't too far away, to be honest. So hopefully this time we've nailed it. So, okay, let me get the fitting shoes. Do you want to take a seat?
Yeah, please.
There we go. Okay, so let's take a look. I know you're familiar with the format, so we'll slip them on, cut them up, just see what's happening inside the shoe again, and see where we are.
Well, I love the bespoke process, especially in the beginning. One of the benefits you have with a pair of shoes that you don't necessarily have with suits is once you really get the last right, you don't need to do any of this anymore, really. So I'm savoring it as much as I can.
Well, unless you ever decide to go for a slip-on shoe, which,
that's right.
We'd go through that process again. So, right, let me just pass that to you. And we'll slip this one on.
Yeah, it would be fun to do it casual at some point. You're quite well known for some of your casual designs.
Okay.
So what were the changes we made last time?
The changes we made last time were around the back of the arch. I think you had a little bit of a problem where the arch started too soon in the heel, so I've moved that forward a little bit for you. I noticed that I'd put too much curve in the heel, and what that meant was it was pushing your foot further forward and creating other problems around this area. So whereas probably I commented before that there was some kind of depth issues, and a little bit of something funny going around there. When I studied the last, I realised that if I reduced the area around the back of the top of the heel, it would actually bring everything back into place a lot better.
Interesting.
So that's the theory anyway.
Well, the shoes feel great so far.
Okay.
And again, that last making is really very technical, right? I mean, all these small changes, understanding how it all impacts one another.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not all about the measure. It's understanding how the foot sits inside the shoe, which part of the foot is doing what to the shoe.
Okay.
In order for you to have to, kind of change that area to, sometimes it's not straightforward. For example, you could have very straight toes here, which is pushing the whole foot over to this side of the shoe, and customers then can feel it tight on here. So some shoemakers would add extra room around here, but it's actually this that's causing it. So it's you need to understand what the foot's doing inside the shoe.
So it's a little bit like a puzzle whenever you're there.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Decoding what's happening.
Which is what makes it quite enjoyable, to be honest. So
I can see you already studying the shoe. Any thoughts so far?
Well, the first initial thoughts is that the lacing's still a little bit too open for my liking. I like to see it around about 5 mil open at the top to allow for stretching through wear. Well, that's probably around about 8 mil, so I'm probably going to put a little bit more room on the last in this area just to allow, for you to be able to lace it up a little bit tidier. So,
and does that impact the actual pattern also?
Yes. Yeah. So once you change the last in that area, you need to recut the quarter patterns in order to kind of sit tidier on that last.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to stand up for me?
Well, we've definitely resolved the issue with the arch. I don't feel that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, you know, your arch as well, because round here, it actually can pull the shoe inside. So this is a little bit like what we were talking about earlier. So it may be you need actually more room around here to close this up than actually on this point of the last.
Okay.
Because that inside ankle is actually leaning against the shoe in this area, pulling the top of the quarter inwards. So I think we've definitely got the backs right now. And you say you feel the arch, it feels nice and comfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah. Depth issue, the joint's nice. I can feel the toe here. It looks nice. Maybe I can take a smidgen off of this area here. There's a little bit more in that area, which I can reduce again.
And that's part of the goal of last making, is really removing as much additional material as possible,
That's
right?
correct, yeah.
And that helps control, I mean, is it comfort or is it aesthetic? I mean...
It's a bit of both. I mean, at the end of the day, I think, like I mentioned before, you know, in a standing position, even in a brand new pair of Bespoke shoes, you should feel 100% comfortable. Walking is a different thing. So as your foot flexes, it does things to the shoes. The leather needs to be broken down. You know, it needs to be studied again of how the shoes are performing during a walking motion. So, but I mean, first impressions, and I'm just going to ask you to have a little walk around in them, is the only things at the moment that I can see that I need to do is just add a little bit more room around this area on both feet.
Okay.
But it's fitting quite nice around here, not too much pressure. The heel is now it's almost clamping you, so you should feel that real support between the instep and the heel, just here. And then the toes are not loose, but they're free to kind of, you know, feel comfortable. So, which is really what we're kind of looking for.
Yeah, you don't want it too tight through there that the toes are jammed together.
But you just want to have a little walk and give them a good flex.
Yeah, I mean, they feel great.
Yeah. I mean, any negative comments at all, or would you change them? I mean, if you...
I mean, maybe we could, I mean, I think that the centering of the arch is appropriate. We could take the arch up a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, so you feel like you could do with a little bit more support.
And especially like on the forward half of the arch.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was to nitpick, I mean, they feel great, right? But one of the things that I like about a nice pair of Bespoke shoes, of course, is that you're able to really work that arch to provide the support. And it would just be, you know, like this side right here, you could come up a little bit.
Okay. Do you feel the arch is flush there, but you just feel like you'd need to eat into that arch a little bit more with the shoe?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
So you have to be very careful with arches because, I mean, obviously we can put leather.
Maybe the arch is fine.
Yeah. Well, the only reason I say this is because the point that we mentioned here earlier is that if I make the arch higher than your foot and the inner support is not strong enough to hold your body weight, it will actually pull the shoe down in this direction, causing this to open more. Yeah. So it's a very delicate balance.
Well, maybe we leave the arch then, because I mean it feels flush, right, and it's comfortable.
Yeah, and you've got to remember as well that in a final Bespoke shoe, there is more structure.
More structure. Okay.
It's going to hold you a little bit more in that area.
And is that just the additional, like you take the hard countering in farther that maybe than you do?
On most Bespoke shoes, we take what's called the heel stiffener, which goes in between the upper and the lining, from the back all the way down right to just behind this joint area. So it's really holding you very tightly
and that's
around that area.
Significantly different than a ready to wear pair of shoes.
It is, yeah.
I mean, again, like I think one of the things I was first struck by a proper pair of bespoke shoes is that it's much stiffer than you're used to if your only reference point is factory made, ready to wear stuff.
Yeah.
Which allows the shoe to give more support and be more comfortable.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it's doing...
Yeah, I wouldn't change it then because, to be honest, I mean, I think with the exception of the few things you pointed out, the shoes are comfortable enough that, I don't want to keep on tinkering around with the fitting.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point you really have to trial it in a finished shoes.
These fittings are almost snapshots, as it were,
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is you can only really judge how well fitting a pair of shoes is by wearing them through a period of a whole day.
Yeah.
Because your feet are naturally in a different state in the morning to what they are in the evening, and the shoe has to kind of go through that whole process.
Yeah.
And it needs to feel comfortable through that whole process. Yeah. So,
well, and your point also that, there is a little bit of difference in construction.
Yes.
Right. So this is an approximation, a close one.
Yeah.
But it isn't a perfect.
It's not a perfect match to an actual pair of shoes. So, I think that, it's quite normal that we kind of turn around to a customer at this stage, finish a shoe off and say, look, let's make them up, wear them for 6 weeks, a dozen times, gently break them in, a couple of hours first wear, and build that up. And then let's have a Zoom call or a telephone conversation and see how they're doing to see if we need a further tweaking or anything like that. So
yeah, and that, again, kind of all goes back to the bespoke process, which is that, it is a process and you have to iterate through it.
Yeah.
And so that first pair of bespoke shoes is an important part of the evolution of the last. Right?
Yes, exactly, yeah. I think that a relationship between a bespoke craftsman and the customer is not just restricted to the making process. It's all about after sales and service and working on the shoes even when they're 5-6 years old.
Yeah.
If the customer's feet's changed, then they'll turn around and say, well, the shoes, I've got fitting issues now with the shoes, and we can turn around and say, okay, well, let's take a look at them again. So that's part of the whole relationship.
So this is the second fitting. So you took the measurements, you made the last, we had the first fitting, right? Based off that first fitting, there were some adjustments that are reflected in this last, right? You'll make a few more changes, right, based off of the feedback we get here, and then you'll modify the last, and then go to my first pair of bespoke shoes.
Yep.
Generally speaking, how long after that do you still see maybe small tweaks to the last as part of its evolution? I mean, do you do that after the first pair? Is that common, or?
I think it really can depend on how complicated the foot is.
Okay.
And one of the big challenges with making a fitting pair of shoes is generally people that pronate inwards. And it's supporting that body weight, and that pressure of the body going down onto the arch can distort the shoe in so many ways.
Okay.
So sometimes in those situations, we need to kind of carry on working with the customer. Fortunately for you, you've got nice balanced feet. And I think that through the wear, I very, very much doubt that we're going to have any kind of issues that kind of crop up like that.
Yeah.
So I'd say on a ratio, probably around about 40% of the time, we have to kind of follow up with kind of small adjustments.
Okay.
So
interesting, yeah. Because that bespoke last does evolve, right?
Yes.
As you're wearing the shoe, you might be like, you might say, well, there's a little bit of irritation at the heel, and maybe work that into the next piece.
Yeah, no, exactly. And some of it can be to do with the structure. People think it's all about how well the last fits in the pattern, but some people can't take that really rigid structure. They, we may take the heel stiffener in some cases only up to here, so that the top line's not rigid and biting into the ankle if the customer's got a thick ankle.
Yeah.
So all those different situations need to be analysed, and some of those can only be analysed through full wear of a shoe.
That's amazing to me, just how much can go into a pair of shoes. I mean, especially bespoke, it really is.
Yeah, no, it is. It's and like you say, the whole thing is an evolution, so it can carry on and on and on in positive ways.
Well, I think that many people that might just go in and have one pair of bespoke shoes made, in some ways shortchange the process, because you're not allowing for that evolution from pair to pair, and you're certainly shortchanging the relationship with the bespoke maker by not developing the depth of that relationship. And so, for me, it's one of my favorite parts of the bespoke process is that relationship you have with the maker, and how you, like we have, developed a friendship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, and there's a lot of guys that would probably say, well, you know, it's hugely expensive. But I know guys that have spent thousands and thousands of pounds on ready-to-wear shoes that don't fit them correctly, and they've got a whole wardrobe full of shoes that they've spent thousands and thousands of pounds on that they're not happy with. So, you know, it's kind of weighing up what you get out of the product, you know. And
well, you know, I guess, and you're certainly in good company with me, that I certainly believe in, you know, fewer things of a higher quality is certainly better spent money.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, are we going to cut these up?
Yeah, I'm just.
It's painful to watch, but I guess it's part of the process.
Yeah, I'm just going to cut them up again and just check out a couple of things.
We take them off for that, right?
Yep. Yep.
And then I guess at this point, I mean, this style is just kind of generic, right? We need to, I mean, I think we've already kind of decided what we're going to make. It's St. James tube, right?
That's right, yeah.
And the, what is it, the Prince of Wales patina?
The Margot.
The Margot.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful color. And now, is this toe shape what I would expect as?
I think, to be honest with you, on the actual handcrafted toe, you would you'd see a little bit more definition.
Yeah.
So, because these on the trial fittings is the same kind of makeup as what we do on the manufactured shoes.
Okay.
So.
It's so difficult to watch you cut these up.
So I'm just going to check the bottom of the heel, make sure I don't cut my tie in half.
It's hazardous work. At least you still have all your fingers.
Yeah, there used to be a saying, you know, in factory and clickers, that with clickers, if you'd still got 5 fingers, you weren't a proper clicker.
Is that right? Yeah. You weren't cutting close enough or fast enough?
Yeah, health and safety has moved on somewhat since then. Okay. I think that's all I need on that one, so you probably notice I've cut them up slightly differently to what I did the first time, just because I'm looking at different things.
Okay.
So I wouldn't have done that area. Mm-hmm. So what that area is going to do is that if now that laces up closer, it tells me that I need to put some more room around there. So
validating that is kind of the issue.
Yeah. Slip those on.
Well, I can say I've never really put on a pair of shoes quite like this. Or do you want to lace these?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to stand up for me. So, I mean, basically, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if you could focus on it before, but the lacing is much closer now than what it was before I took this area out. And I can see just here on both sides that the area I need to add to on the last is round here, rather than actually on the top there, in order to kind of close them properly and keep the balance of the last where it should be.
And now that it's cut out, I mean, do you kind of see my foot spilling over?
Not really. I mean, generally, it's pretty good. Round here, round towards the back of the ankle, it actually fits really nicely. It's just kind of, you know, it's kind of bulging out just very slightly around just at the front of the ankle area, just kind of around that area. So that's the area that I'll put a little bit more room on the last for you.
And you build that up by, what, just adding leather?
Yeah, so we use insole leather or soling leather that we wet up, craft onto the last, and then kind of and then shave it down with a rasp and a knife. So the length's looking good on both, so perfect and symmetrical as well, which helps. And if you can just turn around to face me. Now this is the one thing that I noticed before, was that the bottom of the heel wasn't actually at the back of the shoe. It was further forward than I wanted it, and that's because this top point of the heel was too far forward, forcing your whole foot forward. So now I've changed that area. This left one is actually sitting in this area perfectly. Yep. So this one is sitting absolutely perfectly at the back of the heel. This one, a little bit more forward. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of that curve away at the top to allow the foot to sit further back inside the shoe. But yeah, both very good. We're going to alter that back a little bit because it's kind of still pushing your foot forward just slightly there. But I think overall there's the minimum of alterations that need to be done to this pair.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah, they feel great. I mean, this is definitely, I mean, I can feel and sense the evolution from that first fitting to the second fitting.
Good.
And I mean, this is, you know, as close as it gets, and for there to be even more opportunity for refinement, I think really speaks to the precision that you're able to bring to this skill, this trade.
Yep. So no, it's good. I'm very happy with it, and you know, I hope you are too. So I'm just going to mark that because I'm going to just take a fraction depth out of that area. Mark this one. Okay, and sorry, just stand up one more time for me and turn around. Okay, that's all good. Thank you very much.
Well, brilliant. So I'll be back in May for the World Championship of Shoemaking.
Right, okay.
Do you think that these could be finished by then?
Yes.
You said. I guess, yeah.
Yeah, Bespoke, as you
Pushing
know,
myself through the line here. They don't have to be, no pressure.
Yeah, no, we'll try and make sure so we can have a final fitting, over that time.
Would it be would you do another fitting shoe? Or go
No,
straight to
but
fitting?
I'd like to see how the actual finished shoes
yeah.
fit on your foot. So,
yeah. Well, again, this is exciting to see this come together. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
I have to say, even for someone with as many bespoke shoes as I can say that I own now, very exciting to kind of see this coming together. It's a real privilege to have you making this last, so thank you.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to end up a beautiful shoe. I'd love really to kind of get some of our patina onto your feet, because I think that there's so much depth with that kind of work as well, and with the toe shape and the last fit and the maker, I think is going to be a magical pair of shoes.
I can't wait. I'm really excited. Tony, thank you so much.
No, it's a pleasure to see you again, Kirby. Thank you very much.